So the movie's not just about fighting. It's also about when you went through a period of time in domestic violence and protecting your sons. How do you protect your sons if he'd ever try to do anything?
I am definitely still scared of him. I think now I've got the tools and the people around me that I know I can stay safe from him, but there's still a sense of fear, I guess, from him if I were to see him. I do remember I saw him probably a few years after I'd fled from him in a grocery store, and he just took Ensign out of my hands and held on to him. And I froze in that shopping centre and I didn't know what to do. And I thought, even in that point in time, I was like, nah, if I ever see him, I'll give him my mouthful, I'll let him know what's up. And I just let this man take my son and put him on his hip. And I froze. And then the cashier lady is just looking at me like, what's going on? Is everything okay? And he just talked to Ensign and then gave him back to me. And I just walked out with Zake and Ensign and left all my groceries on the counter, just out of sheer shock, fear. I didn't know what to do, and so I hope that doesn't happen again, but I can't promise it wouldn't. And it just goes to show kind of the scars and the trauma that stays behind after going through such traumatic things like that. So I'd hope that I would deal with it differently, but I don't know.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, you've got your bare knuckles.
I do, and I've got my husband who's also a fighter, so I don't think he would let him get in a metre of me, so I think I'm okay now.
Yeah. What do you tell them about your dads?
Their dads,
yeah.
I try not to hold anything back. They don't really ask that many questions. My eldest, Zake, he can remember a little bit about what happened. He was still quite young, but he can remember that Ensign's dad wasn't very nice. He can remember that he wasn't nice to him or to me. And so when Ensign asks about him, Zake will always step up and answer the questions for me, which is really beautiful of him. He's always kind of been that protector, I guess, especially of Ensign. So he would just say, oh, he's not very nice. He wasn't nice to me and Mum. And I think Ensign now has got the gist of it. He doesn't really ask me that many questions, but if he were to, I would tell him the truth, but I would also like him to make up his own mind about his father, and that's how I've always been with Zake's father as well. You can't kind of taint that, because they're gonna grow up. I feel like they might grow up resenting me, thinking I've kept them from their dads, which I haven't. And I want them to make their own mind up. And I think it's really important as young men to kind of make their decision and not be kind of coerced into having certain feelings about their their family. And I do that with all family, not just their dads. They could have a problem with their auntie or their grandma or their granddad. And I'm like, well, you need to make that decision up for yourself. Have critical thinking and think that one through. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And do they have a close relationship with your partner now?
They do, yeah. Luckily, they've known Adrian since Ensign was 4 months old when we first moved up here. So, and Adrian's known him ever since then. So, they're very close to him and his parents, which are now their nan and pop, which is it's a very unique relationship because we were such close friends, and they took us in when we fled from Ensign's father. So, they've always been there, and they've always been a family in their eyes anyway. So now it's just kind of more official with us being married and all.
Yeah. How did it feel getting into that relationship with him? Did you feel like, oh, I don't know, or I'm ready to do it again? I'm ready to be with someone again?
That's a good question, actually. I always say poor Adrian, he had to really climb over that friendship brick wall that I put up. I wasn't in the best place when I first left Ensign's father, and it took me a long time to love myself and accept love from others. So he really stuck at it for a good few years, trying to be more than friends, and I wasn't the best partner, I guess, back for a long time, and it was definitely weird. And I think it made it easier because we were such good friends, and I trusted him. I think if he was a stranger and I didn't have that relationship beforehand, it probably would have taken a lot longer for for me to really trust him and let him in.
Yeah. And you did you have a really close relationship with your family, or like, and are you now like close with them again, or did you sort of block them out for a little bit?
Yeah, look, I did that with a lot of friendships and family relationships. It was kind of like my coping mechanism. I protected myself from being hurt again, and by doing that, I just shut everyone out. It took a long time to acknowledge that, I guess. It actually took, I was in the US staying with a friend, a training partner, and I'd always say, oh, I've got a cold, I've got a black heart, you can't hurt me anyway. And he looked at me and he said, that's a cop out. He said, you're being a coward. By not accepting people's love and not accepting people's friendships, you're being a coward. And I sat there and I was like, you got me. And I'm like, you know what, you're absolutely right. Here I am thinking I'm big and strong and tough and nobody can hurt me because I won't let them in. And that's the cop out. You've got to let people in. You've got to make yourself vulnerable. You've got to make yourself feel things. Yeah. And from that day onwards, I was like, damn you, Dominic Cruz, you got under my skin and you got me. So, yeah. But yeah, I've got to thank him for everything that's been great and beautiful that's come after that conversation.
Sometimes I don't even realize it. They'll just say it and it can change everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.